welcome to the Untitled Anarchist Seagull channel's Saturday night stream. We're gonna do a little bit of Geoguessr, and let me get the output to the right level so I don't blast people with the background, and look at the rest of PragerU's truly striking Understanding Marxism. I actually did a bit of research for it earlier today over coffee because I realized I had the full original economic and philosophical manuscripts on Kindle because I bought a whole bunch of Marx's selected works because they were either free or cheap on Kindle, so I had it lying around. So I decided to have a look. Decided to have a look at it, and I found something interesting, which I'll share when the time comes. Hello, Ludlow. Okay, it looks like a fairly sunny sort of place. Palm trees, and that is Arabic. I thought Dubai was a lot more upscale looking than this. Okay. Chaussures Tahiti. Okay, we are in a place that was colonized by France. I've been taken to Tunisia quite a few times by, here we go, more French. So I think we are probably in Tunis. I mean, it could be Lebanon as well. Could be a few places. But Tunisia is the Arabic and French-speaking place that I have ended up most frequently on in Geoguessr. Let's see if we can get some more specificity here. I don't know if Geoguessr even does Algeria. Okay, that artwork would probably tell somebody who isn't me exactly where we are. I mean, my understanding of Dubai is it's extremely vertical. And is basically made to just be sort of a playground for fucking billionaires. الندوبية الجمهورية Okay, my Arabic is extremely limited, and that isn't actually getting me where I need to go. see if I can adjust the brightness. I'm keeping the light down because I nearly had an ocular migraine earlier on this evening, and so I'm really not interested in trying my luck there. Okay, that doesn't really help. That'll work. I have more Farsi than Arabic, but I haven't got much of either of them. TN, we are in Tunisia. I'm just gonna say... probably in central Tunis. 129 kilometers off. Millwall FC. Well, okay. That does narrow it down a little bit. Wait. We're in Scotland and somebody's doing graffiti. I guess Millwall must have played an away game, because who the fuck barracks from Millwall in Scotland? Oh, that is the Chilean military police wearing the special forces gear that they wear when they go off to beat the shit out of protesters. That is Carabineros de Chile, Fuerzas Especiales. And if you watch the starting soon sequence long enough, there's a really, really crappy animation that I did where the seagull bites the cop's head off. Okay, this is feeling like Edinburgh. Okay, let's see. Yeah, I mean, this looks... Edinburgh, yes, St. Patrick's in Edinburgh. Edinburgh is like the... out of the major Scottish cities, it is the one that looks the most polished. Palace of Holyrood. Okay, Premier Inn, Edinburgh City Centre, Edinburgh Farmers Market, Johnny Walker, Princess Street. I once very indirectly had a drink with Frankie Boyle. National Library of Scotland. The Chocolatarium. Now, let's see, the Shite Hotels, which is where we are. Dishoom, Edinburgh. Oh, yes, indeed. It's grim as fuck. But if you are fascinated by the Scots language, you will love it. Come on, where the fuck's St. Patrick's? This is the only part of Scotland I've ever been to. Wetherspoons, Alex and Spencer. Tattoo. Waverley is an impressive station when you get out there. See around there. 553 meters. Yes. So that is Fuerzas Especiales de Carabineros de Chile, also known in Chile as Lo Paco Culiao. And they are evil fucks. And when I say military police, they are literally military. Like with court martials and officers and enlisted and everything. And they act the part. Okay, we are in Ferrières-en-Gâtinais, some French-speaking country. Can't say for sure which one. It could be France, could be Belgium. Very pretty, though. Yeah, I mean, this is a gorgeous bit of unidentified location. Ferrières-en-Gâtinais. Noticed the crop was a little bit wrong on chat. There, that does it. Irlande. Ferrières-en-Gâtinais. That name still doesn't really help me any. Welcome back, Jaden. Good timing, because we've only really just started the Geoguessr. We're someplace in either France or Belgium. And it's not really clear yet where. My bet is on France, given that font. That's awfully grand looking. Oh, come on. Give me... You're not gonna let me just go right up to it and look? And now it's disappeared. Well, fuck. Hopefully that wasn't very useful anyway. Yeah, oh, hello, Andromeda. Good to see you. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's France as well. That font they're using on the signs is very French. Trouble is, there's rather a lot of France. Okay, that doesn't really help. I mean, maybe that bit at the bottom was informative, but it was not legible. Oh, these things happen. Sold. That does not help me. It's a rather attractive bit of countryside, anyway. Fucking hell. More. This is like the only thing we get to see. Ferrières-en-Gâtinais. C5. Okay. That's at least a route number. Dordive. No, wait a second. What is that? Oh, no, that's a wall. I was hoping that was a set of signs. Quatre Vallées. Vie et métiers d'art. La route des métiers d'art en Gâtinais. Où Cali se trouve Gâtinais? Ferrières-en-Gâtinais again. Jesus, this is like... Is this all they're gonna give me? Because that means absolutely nothing to me except a French place. Yeah, Ferrières-en-Gâtinais, and it tells me where we can get to the city hall and shit, which I'm more interested in what department it's in. Aigreville? Montreux. D96. Okay, we've got something. Aigreville? C'est où Aigreville? That seems familiar to me. D96. D96. We're still in some place in France on the D96. Not far from Aigreville and Montreux. Yeah, it doesn't feel like the south of France. N D96 dernier Landouzy-la-Ville, Compiègne, Chamon. This is, okay, we have D900s. And that's Paris. Definitely not in Paris. Oh, that was Tunisia. That was some city, like an hour south of Tunis. D696. 96. Argivilliers, Alivilliers, Hauts-de-Selle, $900. Touchy-les-Mines. entier. So, I was reading through the economic and philosophical manuscripts over coffee, and you remember that weird shit about having being the enemy of being? Well, I didn't find that. That isn't in there as far... that's serving crystal. But I did find something that... I think I found what they have managed to distort in such a fascinating way, and I'll be bringing that up when we return to the last bit of Understanding Marxism. Loiré, tabarnak, c'est où? Tu le sais comment? Pas de carie. No. Some... Yeah, well, it's interesting in that it is actually one of, It's a really good quote, actually. And was... Okay, we're just gonna have a random punt. Oh, 121 kilometers, not too bad. 4609. Okay, this looks North American as shit. 918 area code, if that means anything to anyone. Prairie Rose. Planet Fitness. That does not actually help. But a street like this, there's gonna be a connection to either a US highway or an interstate or something. Riverside Parkway. And East 71st. Okay, that sounds like a fairly major city if it manages to get up to 71st Street. Okay. So far it's checking out. East 71st. And Riverside Parkway. And there's a Planet Fitness. Right on the river, that's helpful. And here we go. 425 meters, 49.99. Okay. Let's see, what language is on that sign? Government of Uganda. Okay, that narrows it down. Of Mugwanya Road, Kampala Capital City Authority. Okay, that does narrow it down a wee bit. Kampala Mugwanya Road. Yeah, I mean, I don't think the government of Uganda is going around in concert with the Kampala City Authority doing roads in Madagascar. Mukwano, Shimoni, Katonga, Lumumba. Aryan Hostel. Church to Church Road. Kampala Jinja Highway. Okay, I don't really have a feel of the layout of... Let me see. 0 degrees latitude. Mbuya. Gawempe. Prince Charles Drive. Fuck off. Oh, you've got an avatar. Cool. Okay. Let's see, is there anything else on here? Kampala Capital City. Extended of Mugwanya? Okay, let me see if I can get some more. Lubaga Hospital. Isawa Zabagenyi. Ezekiro. Kampala Independent Hospital. Jamaica, Mulago, Kisasi. Maybe Lubaga is a district. Rubaga. Utungo, Seguku, Makindye. Hell. It's gonna say someplace in near central Kampala. .4 kilometers. 49.85. sounds cool. What's the Monkey Wrench Gang? Okay. Let me change the audio output because we're about to get back into that hardcore theory that we were looking at yesterday. And as I said, I was reading through the ökonomisch-philosophische Manuskripte because I just happened to have them. I just never gotten around to actually reading them yet because I have a huge rotation of books that I sort of just shuffle through as I lose interest in one. But, okay, so, there we go, we don't need that. There was this whole bizarre thing where, where your man went off, talking about having is the enemy of being, and I was kind of curious, and I decided to just look through it because I was kind of bored with everything else I was reading at the moment anyway, and I found a very interesting quote. So, okay. Well, have a good night. Thanks for stopping by. I will be back I'm always every Friday and Saturday, and sometimes I pop up just unexpectedly in the early evening. So, and also, I also show up on Hyperpolyglotting, which is my language and, Geoguessr channel, and I also stream in the early evenings there, so love to see you there as well. Thank you for popping by. Okay, so here's the quote, and it's just, this is my spontaneous translation. First of all, increasing the wage results in overwork amongst the workers. The more they wish to earn, the more of their time they have to sacrifice, and completely alienating themselves of all freedom, carry out slave labor in the service of greed. In so doing, they shorten their lives. This shortening of their lives is a favorable circumstance for the working class as a whole, because it means that there will that ever new supply of workers, I'm just adding that, to clarify, becomes needed. This class must always sacrifice part of itself in order to avoid complete destruction. Die Erhöhung des Arbeitslohns führt Überarbeitung unter den Arbeitern herbei. Je mehr sie verdienen wollen, je mehr müssen sie ihre Zeit aufopfern und vollständig aller Freiheit sich entäußernd im Dienst der Habsucht Sklavenarbeit vollziehen. Dabei kürzen sie dadurch ihre Lebenszeit ab. Diese Verkürzung ihrer Lebensdauer ist ein günstiger Umstand für die Arbeiterklasse im Ganzen, weil dadurch immer neue Zufuhr nötig wird. Diese Klasse muss immer einen Teil ihrer selbst opfern, um nicht ganz zugrunde zu gehen, in the original. I mean, the point being that if you try to make more money when your only way of making money, and actually just in general, the first section, which is all I've actually read at this point of the economic and philosophical manuscripts, is quite worthwhile because it points out the various ways in which capitalists are in a state of advantage over workers, which has mostly to do with the fact that they have flexibility in how they get money, whereas workers are just constantly having to chase after it. And, of course, the more workers are chasing after money, the less time they've got for anything else, and they use up their lives and energy. So that is what actually was being discussed, that this political scientist from South Carolina was professionally misunderstanding. So, okay, we've got one more of these from this series on Misunderstanding Marxism.
University. Engraved on Karl Marx's tombstone in Highgate Cemetery in North London are the following words. The philosophers have only interpreted the world in various ways. The point, however, is to change it.
Well, yeah. I mean, Okay, that's an accurate. That's like the first actual Marx quote. Apart from that, I think this is actually provided apart from to each according to their need, etc. Yeah.
Substitute the word professor for the word philosopher. We really don't have philosophers anymore, and
Okay. I would love this guy apparently works at an actual university. I looked it up and it is like a legit university. I would love him to go to the philosophy department of his university and run that by them.
you get right to the core of Marx's enduring attraction to the contemporary world. Marx demands that the intellectual class, the professors of law, sociology, history, women's studies, and
No, he fucking doesn't. That is literally not what he.
anthropology, journalism, and so on, come out of the ivory tower and join the barricades.
What? So everybody except the professors of philosophy who like actually exist?
To see themselves not as the preservers of the dusty past, but the creators of a new and glorious future.
Which sounds pretty good, actually. Okay, are you gonna get to the point where you explain wow that's bad? Because so far it's actually I'm having trouble seeing how anyone could.
The lure has proven to be very strong, and it's not hard to understand why.
Oh, it's worth remembering for anyone who wasn't here for the first one last night that this fool has declared that Marxism is basically everything he doesn't like. Uh, he says that it's multiculturalism, it's critical race theory, it's feminism, it's environmentalism, and of course it's postmodernism, because if there's one thing Marxists love, it's postmodernism. Yeah, no shit, of course he thought no such thing. His whole point was that the working class was the one that had to do it. Oh, I mean, public institutions of higher learning definitely existed. I mean, he went to one.
How much more
In Germany,
meaningful,
they
exciting, and
existed.
romantic to see yourself as an agent of change
Dressed like Indiana Jones, apparently.
rather than a
Oh, well, of course, because he's a professor of anthropology.
mere academic. How much more meaningful, exciting, and romantic to see the young people who fill up your classroom as potential soldiers in the cause. Send them into the world with the same revolutionary spirit, the same disgust toward bourgeois middle-class values that you feel. And you
Okay. I mean, I love this idea that the only way you could possibly be disgusted with the way the society is run is if somebody brainwashed you. I mean, and it's particularly rich coming from a propaganda operation set up because billionaires decided that the only way that they can possibly get people not to be disgusted with the way things are run is to brainwash them.
you've done your job. And we must give these lecture hall revolutionaries their due. Look around. For the most part, they've succeeded.
Oh god, yeah, I mean, this is kind of hilarious to look at the same time as that horrible Sam Adler Bell thing about where he decides to sort of say you gotta hand it to white nationalists, and that actually wokeness is the problem, and all this shit. And he claimed that actually the revolutionary left has taken over the universities and stuff, and it's like I mean, I know some, like, I know revolutionary leftists at universities, and yeah, I don't think they would agree with that take.
Drill into any current leftist movement, environmentalism, critical race theory, the mass.
There is no critical race theory movement. Ooh, the welfare state is a leftist movement. First of all, like, I mean, I can't believe that they're all still banging about the welfare state in the U.S. in this year of 2022, when we haven't had anything that you could reasonably, without squinting heavily, call a welfare state since before Bill Clinton took over. I mean, they're sitting here, they're crapping on about the welfare state as if it fucking existed. Maybe it's the lighting. There we go. Yeah. Okay. And can I just say, every time I see CRT, I think cathode ray tubes. Yes, the welfare state movement.
Massive expansion of the welfare state.
What expansion? It's like, yeah, it isn't really expansion if you say maybe we should have one.
Not to mention diversity, equity, and inclusion offices at every university and major corporation, and you will find...
Yeah, I know, because that's what we're taken to the streets for, isn't it? I mean, everybody was just out in the streets for diversity, equity, inclusion offices and corporations. That's what that was all about. I thought it was about abolishing the cops, or at the very least taking their money away so that they could do less fucking damage. But apparently, no, it is about having diversity, equity, and inclusion offices. I had one teacher who, in high school actually, in year 10, who I think probably was one, but he was very careful not to be explicit about it, but he's the reason I saw Mate One.
Marxism at its core.
Yes, I mean, because, of course, in Volume 3 of Capital, see, nobody's read it except for the people at PragerU. Nobody's ever read it, and that's how nobody realizes that Volume 3 is just all about how the working class need to get together and put in diversity, equity, and inclusion offices in the corporations.
A contempt of the Enlightenment and the Judeo-Christian value system from which capitalism springs.
No. First of all, as Mask pointed out just yesterday, Marx was part of the Enlightenment, the radical Enlightenment. And second of all, the Judeo-Christian value system, that term didn't even fucking exist at the time. And it's a bullshit term in the first place, because actually what they're just saying is Christianity. There's nothing Judeo in it.
Marx's most famous call to action, "Workers of the world unite," was not, of course, to the professoriate, but to the laboring class.
You think? Like, he looks genuinely surprised by this, having just claimed that Marx was actually issuing a call of action to fucking academics. No, you can't blame us for that shit. That
didn't work out so well. Workers, especially in the United States, turned out to be more interested in refrigerators than revolutions.
Wait. Okay, first of all, that's not true. I mean, I'm not sure exactly when we had this refrigerators or revolution. Okay. God, see, some of this shit is so fucking shallow that it actually takes a while to figure out what angle to actually see where they're distorting from. But yeah, at a certain point, the unions got bought off during the special period that started after 1945, yes. But before that, there was actually a pretty big fucking revolutionary workers' movement in the U.S., I think you'll find.
The only barricade they were passionate about was a white picket fence in front of a green suburban lawn. Poor, benighted souls, the appeal of Marxism was somehow lost on them. Maybe because they didn't go to college.
Yeah, because that's where, at the beginning of the 20th century, that's where you found the Marxists. You had to go to the universities. It wasn't the fucking textile factories and the fucking auto sweatshops and the coal mines or anything like that. or like long haul trucking and all that shit. No, it was in the universities, of course.
But the intellectual class never lost faith. Even after Stalin, even after Mao, even after Castro wrecked Cuba.
Wrecked Cuba? See, there's all sorts of things you can say about the Cuban Revolution and the Cuban Communist Party, but the idea that Cuba is worse off now than the disastrous state it was before 1959, when it was just a literal fucking colony of the US that was basically mostly run by the mafia, that's impressive. Oh yeah, of course there were. I mean, and in some of the unions, there was quite dominant. And of course, after the Wagner Act in the 30s, the whole idea was that the state realized that the best way to deal with the unions was to try to co-opt them by conditioning legal recognition on kicking all the radicals out of the union leadership.
Even after Pol Pot murdered millions of his fellow Cambodians, even after Hugo Chavez destroyed the strongest economy in South America.
That's kind of an interesting way of describing it, because actually he came into a country that had something like 80% poverty rate, and by the time he died, actually that was way down. Extreme poverty was almost completely eradicated, as was illiteracy. Yeah.
The academic elite remained true believers.
The academic elite. I see. If they had actual names, they would use them, but the thing is, there's so few actual academics. Yeah, the global downturn in oil prices certainly helped, but what's really been destructive has been just the outright. Well, you had, first of all, there was a capital strike going on in Venezuela the whole time, with, of course, U.S. support, just as they did with Allende. And then, and even that didn't really didn't really cause a huge problem. There were ways to work around that. What's really caused a disaster, to the extent that even the U.S.-backed right-wing opposition are saying that this is a problem, is the so-called sanctions, which are specifically targeted at destroying the funding stream for the anti-poverty programs. And even the people who think Guaido was legitimately elected when Mike Pence voted for him are actually saying that these so-called sanctions are actually killing people. Of course, their view is that they need to fine-tune the sanctions to kill fewer people.
Indeed, in a world without faith, where God is dead, Marxism has become, in effect, a substitute religion. One of the major...
What world without... we're talking about the U.S., one of the most fucking over-the-top Christian countries on the planet.
Strengths of Marxism, in contrast to both modern liberalism and conservatism.
Oh, wait a second. Okay, that's actually surprising, since he's just spent an entire series here conflating Marxism and liberalism. Now he's acknowledging they're actually not the same thing?
Is the unyielding commitment of its followers to this faith, to bear witness to it, and to act on it. It summons these...
To what faith? Oh, that's interesting, that what, they're giving him a shofar? They're giving Marx a fucking shofar like it's Yom Kippur? That's interesting. That's not, like, dodgy at all, that they've decided to specifically give him a Jewish ritual musical instrument.
Followers to join a crusade to destroy the evil that is capitalism and to create the good that is communism. In our secular world, the Marxist ideal gives the Marxist true believer a reason to live, a reason to die, and a reason to kill.
In the days of COVID, I don't think we need any additional reasons to die. I mean, between COVID and cops and fucking climate change. I think that's already our dance card in terms of potential widespread causes of death are already covered.
Monsters like Lenin, Stalin, Mao, Kim Il-sung, Ho Chi Minh, and Pol Pot took this to the nth degree and murdered millions.
Okay. It will be very interesting if they try to break that down.
For the record, the latter two were politically educated in France.
And the latter one was backed by the U.S. the whole fucking time, because he also attacked Vietnam. And if we're going to talk about killing millions in Indochina, there's somebody else. There's this, I can't put my finger on it, but I feel like there's another country that we need to be bringing into the discussion. I mean, perhaps we need to be talking about JFK and LBJ and fucking Milhouse Nixon. Well, yeah, that's one of the things. And Kim Il-sung, one has to say, it's really variable. Actually, I mean, well, on his watch, when you read like literature from before he died, actually there was still a fair bit of like references to dialectical materialism and shit in yes, it is, but it doesn't. There was a time when it tried to have some Marxism mixed in with it. Like, there was a time when it explicitly claimed to be, a Marxist-Leninist ideology, before Kim Il-sung died. Then he died, and actually, there's this great project called the Korea Computer Center, and what they do is they get handheld devices from the DPRK, just so they can analyze the shit that's on them. And one of the things that's on them is these preloaded PDFs of the entire school curriculum. And so they published that stuff, and I went through it, and I was very curious to see how many mentions Marx would get at all. He got exactly one. He gets a mention in the world history course in one year, I forget which one, where they mention he wrote the manifesto. And then they mention the breakup of the First International, and they get that wrong in a way I'd never actually heard before. They claimed that the anarchists opposed class struggle, that was the fault line, which I hadn't heard that particular line before. But Thought Slime did a whole video where he brings that up as an example of a myth about anarchism. So I guess that was going around outside of North Korea as well. Yeah, I mean, in fact, there was an interesting, just to show you how fucking un-Marxist the whole thing is now. Kim Jong-un gave a speech to like the propaganda workers. And it was like literal idealism. I mean, he explicitly said that the ideas are the driving force of everything. Which you would not, I mean, when you look at stuff from the 80s, they totally would not have gone that route. They would have talked, I mean, at the time, they still talked about, like, material conditions. I mean, they also still talked about communism. Which, I mean, that's a whole weird topic, because they spent, like, a decade, like the last decade of Kim Jong-il, taking the word communism out of everything, and now they're sort of occasionally bringing it back, but not together with anything else. I mean, just to like, yeah, statements about, profound faith in our communist future or something like that, but not any talk about what they mean by it.
Pol Pot studied at the Sorbonne. If you think I'm exaggerating the evils of Marxism.
Or understating the evils of the French, apparently.
If you think Stalin and those other guys got communism wrong, but...
Well, they did. They demonstrably fucking did.
Sure, new democratic socialism will get it right.
Well, no, that won't get it right either, because that's just fucking social democracy. They just thought it sounded cooler to reverse the words. Yeah, but which is interesting, because they throughout the 80s they were still saying that it was kind of part of it, and Marx still has like one sad little public portrait in one street corner of Pyongyang. I forget exactly where. They just kind of kept it there, even though you basically never hear about the man anymore.
Think again. Marxism leads a society toward a fixed goal, a utopian vision of pure freedom in which the individual is liberated from the false consciousness of capitalism.
Okay, I'm failing to see the problem. That sounds pretty good so far.
Unfortunately, by Marx's own definition, the path to this utopia requires the destruction, economically, politically, and morally, of every vestige of civilization as we know it.
Yeah, gonna need a citation on that.
Economically, Marxism seeks to destroy free enterprise.
Good. It's about time we got rid of that bullshit. There's nothing free about it.
The division of labor, profit and loss.
Okay, why did they add profit and loss? Like, surely why not just say profit?
Competition and material wealth.
Wait, no, not that last one. A couple of those first ones, definitely. But material wealth, the whole idea is that we should all have some. And that a lot of it should just belong to us all.
Politically, it seeks to destroy
Why is he on the old Mario Brothers Donkey Kong framework, by the way?
the rule of law, separation of powers, and freedom of speech. Morally, it seeks to destroy individualism, religious liberty, and independent thought.
Independent thought being something that PragerU cares deeply about.
And on top of this rubble, it builds the all-powerful state ruled by an all-powerful elite.
You're just describing the U.S.
This is why the communist 1%, the true 1%, must use the full power of the state to force
the true 1%.
the 99%, the true 99%, to become something they are not and do not want to be.
Okay, he's gone so fucking abstracted from anything that, like, who the fuck are the true 1%? Who the fuck are the true 99%? Like, how are you dividing these things up? And why is your pie chart not actually reflect 99 and 1%?
And if that doesn't work, the secular philosophy of brotherly love simply intimidates into silence and ultimately liquidates as much of the 99% as is necessary to keep everybody in line.
Wait, that's the secular philosophy of brotherly love? I mean, he's getting very animated at this point. He's getting very excited about it, but honestly, he's making even less sense than he was at any other time in this series, and he wasn't exactly involved in sense overproduction beforehand.
Censorship, secret police, and...
Wait, I mean, see, you're telling on yourself when you immediately have a U.S. referent that is obviously a fucking Secret Service agent who has a shitty tailor. I mean, look, we can see the white socks, motherfucker. Do work on that. So he's just sort of admitting that actually, just visually, through the visual language, he's admitting that we've already got the secret police.
Re-education camps. These are not...
Wow, and he's wearing the... I mean, yeah, because we don't have incarceration.
Not bugs in an imperfect system. They are features, critical parts of its design.
These are all things that you're quite happy with when it's the U.S. doing them, though.
In short, the problem with Marxism has been and always will be Marxism.
Which part isn't true? I mean, there's so many things that statement applies to that I'm genuinely uncertain which bit you're calling bullshit on. If we called bullshit on every single thing that's bullshit, we would run up a huge phone bill.
Too bad the academic establishment has yet to figure this out.
You're part of the fucking academic establishment, motherfucker. You're a professor of political science at a public university. No. So which bit was it? Which untrue bit of the vast smorgasbord of untrue things were you referring to?
Or even worse, maybe they have. I'm Brad Thompson.
Wait, I missed something. Maybe they have what?
Marxism. Too bad the academic establishment has yet to figure this out. Or even worse, maybe they have.
Ah.
I'm Brad Thompson, professor of political science at Clemson University for Prager University.
How the fuck? See, everybody else just says PragerU. How the hell can somebody who works at an actual university, it is a legit university, actually, like, with a straight face, and he is admirably doing a good job there of maintaining a straight face, call this thing a university? Yeah, I mean, you could say that the secret police and incarceration are sort of a feature of states. That the minute you decide that you're going to try to be the first revolutionary movement to actually successfully get to communism by taking over state power rather than moving farther and farther over, well, I was thinking actually he looks sort of like an older George McFly. Then, I mean, if you have a state, you're probably gonna have secret police and you're probably gonna have incarceration because it's just kind of part of the general package. And if you try to build communism by taking over state power, chances are you're not going to do that because you're going to be too concerned with maintaining state power, and those two things are at direct odds with each other. I think if a state started out without secret police, they would soon have them. Okay. So now we have understood Marxism as it is understood by PragerU. And we've still got about 20 minutes to go, so... Oh, holy shit, there's a debate panel on leftism and imperialism featuring Destiny and Infrared, which I think they mean Has, the piss guy. I mean, that might be good, but we're kind of short on... we're not exactly completely spoiled for time at this point, so I'm thinking maybe a bit more Geoguessr, unless anyone has strong opinions in another direction. The trouble with this setup is that I always end up in a posture that really does not look nice on camera. And if I try to maintain a posture that looks nice on camera, I get a dead leg. Okay, Geoguessr it is, then. You mean in the sense that it's almost churlish to even point out the things that they get wrong because it's like just kind of a given that they're going to be getting them wrong? Oh shit, I forgot to turn down the audio outputs. Okay. It looks kind of like desert. Yeah, exactly. It's actually, you managed to, like... It's hard to see the forest for the trees, actually, when you watch one of these things for the first time without having... had a chance to watch it once and just process it. Because it's just all bullshit. Oh God, there's so many places this could be. This could be... There's some bits of the U.S. There's some bits of Mexico this could be. There are places in Argentina look like this. Australia. Where's your old stomping ground? Oh, I hate this slow shit. Okay, what is that off in the distance? Ah, that's just a house of some kind. And there's some mountains. Yeah, well, I mean, you do see some white lines. And, I mean, the road is certainly scuffed enough to be remote U.S. I mean, if anything, it's too well maintained. Yeah, that is... God, I forget who said that, but that is a brilliant quote. Das ist nicht nur nicht richtig, es ist nicht einmal falsch. That isn't just not correct, it isn't even wrong. Okay, so we're moving towards some mountains, way off in the distance. Ah, St. Pauli. Very flat. God, they're not going to give me anything, are they? Mile 1-2, we're in the U.S. Mile 12. Okay, it's the U.S. Thank you. So, southwest, it seems like. That much sounds pretty likely. Southern Nevada. Southern California, Arizona, New Mexico. It could be New Mexico. Oh, a clue has been found. We are someplace... Okay. Well, only 12 miles to go then. How many clicks does it take for me to go a mile, I wonder? Probably many. Sanhadu chua, ikan sanhadu chua. Yeah, that is actually yellow. It's just getting bleached by the sun, is what's going on. I need to clean my screen. There are little bits of crap on my screen that look like silhouettes of things off in the distance. And they keep confusing me. Open range, okay. We're in a place of cows. Okay, here we go. There is the opening of the ranch. It's such a good screen that it's easy to ignore how much crap I have on it. come on. You gotta give me something here. Fuck it. I'm just going to... We don't have a huge amount of time left, so I'm just going to say someplace in Arizona. Southern Nevada... Southern Utah. 3677. Okay, this also looks North American. Yeah, we're in the U.S. I mean, unless that's the U.S. consulate in fucking Toronto. Okay. Acorn Terrace. Total Turf Landscaping. What, Navajo? Oh, Millwood, New York. 666. I wonder what you have to do to get a 666 number. Because that would rock and you'd remember it. Millwood, New York. Where the hell is Millwood, New York, I wonder? Ah, fuck. That is a dead end. Monroe and Rhodes. Ray's Plow. Okay, yeah, that does tell me a little bit about what part of the country we're in. New Rochelle. Okay, that's down like... That's actually down by Manhattan and all that, isn't that? New Rochelle, yes, okay. Stevenson Playground. Stevenson Park. Okay, there we go. And what were the street names? Acorn Terrace. Roads. Acorn Terrace, we got it. Okay, between US Highway 1 and I-95. Stevenson Boulevard. Ah, there we go. 23 meters, 5,000 points. Upstream, downstream. Okay, this is English. Okay. I think we're in Australia. PTE Limited, actually, that doesn't sound like Australia. Oh, I'm definitely gonna like a wholesale retailer of processed frozen meat on Facebook. I totally want to find out how they're living their best lives. PTE Limited, that could be... South Africa, possibly. I mean, lots of Chinese shipping, but that does not actually... Cantonese there. 우리 누구도 두렵지 않아. Okay. Fuhua. Okay. Not Australia, I am now concluding. Well, speed bumps and speed humps are two different things. The bumps are actually, they're shorter, and they tend to go up higher, Whereas the speed humps are quite a bit longer and flatter. And in Britain, you only see speed humps near social housing. SBS, this could be Singapore. See, a speed bump is like this. A speed hump is like this. Ang Mo. I mean, this could be Singapore. Subway, tastes good, feel good. The only place I've ever heard of that's managed to make fresh baked bread smell bad. Like, what the fuck do they even do to that bread to make it smell like somebody's fucking athlete's foot got stuck in the oven? Okay, we're just gonna say Singapore. So we haven't got a huge amount of time. In fact, we're already beginning to run over. I doubt we're going to go too far wrong. 5.3 kilometers. And in Welsh, Wales does a good job of onomatopoeia. The Welsh name for a speed hump is twmpeth, which is exactly what it sounds like when you drive over one. Or maybe somebody just pisses in it. Okay. This is someplace in the US. I haven't... Okay. Yeah, wait, yeah, that said speed limit, didn't it? Yeah. I mean, representative was already a pretty big giveaway. Know your hydrogen. Tacoma water, okay. We're in Washington. Okay, what were the street names here? Grandview and 27th West. See, when I make the sandwich, that shit tastes good. And the bread does not smell like athlete's foot. I make really good sandwiches. And I'm proud to say the pizza I make is actually better than most of the pizza I regularly pay for. When I get around to doing it, which I don't do very often because it's a pain in the ass. You have to get the dough made, and then you have to rise it, and then you have to wash out the fucking mixing bowl, which is the worst part of all. 60th, 51st, 38th, 36th, 27th. Wait, though. Oh, okay, East 26th. Okay, how the hell... God, I mean, washing dough out of stuff is such a pain in the ass. I mean, the only thing I've found that works is to take just dishwasher liquid, put, like, scorching hot water in it, and let it sit there for an hour, and it will dissolve the polymerized bonds and things. Ah, fuck. 5 kilometers. Almost on a straight line. 49.83. Okay, one more round before we're done for the night. I mean, and I make plongeur, as in like a diver. Okay, this is pretty. Not entirely clear where we are. Could be a lot of places so far. I have this vague feeling it might be Scandinavian. Oh. Oh, yeah. Oh, I bet you... I bet you know quite a lot about that then. What do you do in the field? Yeah, we're in someplace that isn't North America. When you're trying to wash dough out of shit. I mean, I imagine you must have some sort of tip. Because that's the worst part, all the shit that... And you have to be on your feet as well. And it takes like an hour of... And all the kneading and stuff, and then you get dough in, like, every little crevice in your hands. Idrettshall, Skåle, Barnehage. Okay, I believe we are in Norway. Norway, yes indeed. Ah, yeah. I would totally start making pizzas more often. They have they have these amazing Øyangen. Okay, yeah, Norway. Totally Norway. These amazing small portable Neapolitan wood-burning pizza ovens for much less than the full-size, like, units that you need an addition on your house for cost. And it bakes the thing in like 60 seconds. I mean, if I had one of those, I would totally be making a lot more pizza, because that would be amazing. Okay. 3620, 482 kilometers off. And let's see how we do on this last round of the night. 22,262. Almost about to level up. In the next game, I imagine I will. Yeah. Malicious compliance has much going for it. But alas, it is time for me to bid you good night. Thank you so much for coming. Always a pleasure to see you. And we'll definitely be seeing each other again Friday and Saturday nights, coming at 11:30 to 1 a.m. Eastern U.S. time. And possibly intermittently on here or on Hyperpolyglotting. Yeah, throughout the week in the early evenings, depending on when I have time. Bonne nuit. Ciao, Jashirayo.